Just go, Pat Morita. Just go. Just get out. Leave me. Go.
That's funny. You're so silly, petulant, and butthurt. No, you're not going to take my new friend Jay Leno.
But yeah, who knew? Pat Morita and Jay Leno did a movie together in the 80s.
If you'd have told me Jay Leno and Pat Morita did a buddy cop movie, I'd have thought you were joking. But it's true. It's totally true. They did. I watched it.
Yeah.
I found it on HBO Max, of all places. I had to search for it though, because for some strange reason it wasn't featured in the trending.
It wasn't in the everybody's watching now list.
Yeah. No.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yes. So I guess for people that don't know, Jay Leno.
Probably all of you, because we didn't know.
We didn't know about this movie either. So Jay Leno, yes, that Jay Leno, plays a Detroit cop who works on the stolen goods division of the Detroit police force.
Yeah,
he drives
robbery.
Robbery. He drives a fancy 1959 Corvette, of course, because it's Jay Leno. And
and it's because it's Detroit.
It's
we
Detroit.
used to make good cars back in the day.
Yep. City.
Before you Japanese took over.
Motor City, as we will hear in this film.
A lot.
Yeah. A friend of his is murdered, and he has to go kind of try to find out who murdered his friend. Interestingly enough, his actual partner in the film is played by the great Ernie Hudson, who's, for some reason in this film.
Well, and he's in it for the first 20 minutes. And
yeah,
you
he's
think,
barely
this
in
is
this
a Jay
film.
Leno, Ernie Hudson movie. But then Ernie Hudson disappears. It's 25 minutes in or something. He's gone. You never hear from him again.
No, he makes
I think
a brief
he quit the
appearance
movie
at one point, and that's about it. Pat Morita plays a Japanese detective who is sent over to the United States to find a missing turbocharger engine part, basically.
It's like an engine part
that makes engines
prototype
that makes engines go super, super fast. So
yeah, it's a machine part.
Yeah. So he's sent over to find it, but of course he can't tell any of the local police about it, as his mean police boss in Japan tells him, very angrily. This thing has all the tropes, right, of the buddy cop movie. With the angry police chief on both sides of both sides in Tokyo and in Detroit. They both have they both have the insubordinate cops and
cops who don't listen.
Yeah,
it's completely stereotypical.
Totally. Which would work if it hadn't been done so many times before, maybe. But,
right.
Yeah. So anyway, they come over, and of course, at first, don't get along because they're not buddy cops, and Pat Morita's not telling them.
Well, because they're an odd couple, right? It's the whole odd couple thing. I'm a funny Detroit guy, and you're the Japanese dude, and
you're the
kind of don't get along because your country makes better cars than me, and I'm butthurt about it.
And they go in search of the guy who stole the thing, but he dies pretty quickly. Interestingly, played by Danny Kamikona.
Danny Kamikona, he was probably the best thing in the movie. And
I know, he was only in it for 2 minutes. He was barely in it.
That's the murder on that the Japanese guy is kind of investigating, right? So we got 2 murders on both sides, but I was hoping to see more of Danny.
Yeah.
And they didn't even try to kill him. He had a heart attack.
Yeah, he just has a heart attack. barely in the film. The thing with the film is, so they buddy up, and of course they go against the big bad, who is one of them is a regular kind of Detroit mafia guy, and the other one is the head of a car company. Is
but
making
the mafia guy,
car.
The bad guy, Prince Humperdinck with the mustache, kind of owns this car dude, right? Even though this car dude's a powerful guy, he doesn't have enough capital. So his capital is coming from the mafia. So porn stash Prince Humperdinck kind of owns him, right? So he's really the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go and they're I don't know what they were doing actually most of the movie. I guess
from there it just turns into your standard, I guess, buddy cop going against the bad guys. They have Randall Cobb, who's kind of the muscle for the bad guys, going around, starting fights and shooting at them they have all the like total tropes. The chief is a hard ass. You've got the all other cops except for our two main cops are incompetent, right? So the actual cops in the Detroit side that are investigating the murder are incompetent boobs. They have a motorcycle car chase sequence. They've got your alley sequence, shootout sequence. You've got a bar fight that happens in a bowling alley. You've got probable cause breaking and entering sequences. You've got the give up your badge and gun sequence with the police chief.
It follows the formula. It's like Julia Child recipe to the T, like 1/4 cup that, 2 tablespoons that. It's like, it is the formulaic buddy cop movie. I think that's what makes it kind of silly. It's like, I don't know even back then it was probably that way because this had been done already.
And I didn't mention the heroic get out of here scene when Jay Leno is shot in the leg and the car's going to run him down and he's going, get out of here. Just go, Pat Morita. Just go. Just get out. Leave me. Go.
But I'm going to say it. All right. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Pat Morita doesn't go.
No. Which
bad guy Prince Humperdinck, porn stash Prince Humperdinck coming at him in the car, and he's like, "No, you're not going to take my new friend Jay Leno." So he runs toward the car and he like double kicks.
He does a jumping karate kick through the windshield, which is, by the way, the best scene in the film.
It's so good
when that happened.
Pat Morita double kicks through the windshield like hiya, and it takes down bad guy.
It's so fake looking too when you watch it, and just that side shot of him going into the window. It's like you can't get faker looking than that.
That was the best part of the movie. I mean, the movie there wasn't much going on, but that was where if you're gonna watch this movie, you could skip just to that part and watch that, and then you'll be good.
Yeah, you'll be happy you saw it just for that bit.
Yeah, the thing is with this movie is like throughout the whole film, it's just sprinkled with derogatory, like racial slurs against Japanese. Just the whole movie, it's just sprinkled with them. And I think it really goes to like the 1980s, specifically 1980s Rust Belt angst against the Japanese for, building better, cheaper cars and making their cities like shitty because they put all their eggs in that basket, right?
Yeah. Well, they took our jobs because they make better cars, and we're going to blame them for that.
No, according to Jay Leno, they're inferior plastic cars built by cheap labor
that will get you from A to B without breaking down.
Because they're not but he's driving this 50s car. And I'm thinking that's probably why they kind of took over, because you were building like big gas guzzling things like that.
Yeah. Well, like the 70s was big gas guzzlers. And then into the 80s, they had emissions that kind of made them no longer gas guzzlers, but they were still cheaply built and broke down a lot. I mean, you think most 80s era American made cars, you don't see them on the road. They're not a lot of classics come from that era because they weren't good cars.
They weren't. And then they had a lot of camera shots of Detroit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, it was a shithole back then too in the 80s.
Like, it hasn't changed much. Sorry, Detroit.
It's changed. It's probably gotten worse, but it wasn't great then either. And there's no trees. It's just like big roads and buildings.
There's
no plant life at all.
Yeah. They've they've been actually putting a lot of effort into revitalizing Detroit. So I don't want to rip on Detroit to our Detroit listeners, because I actually have kind of been, because I wanted to go kind of in the 90s to Detroit and photograph it, because that's when it was really kind of peak derelict abandoned, and they've been revitalizing a lot of it since then. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of good photos of abandoned buildings. So they are trying to revitalize it quite a bit. And
that's cool, man. And then don't put your eggs all in one basket. Like diversify your economic
exactly. Our entire economy is based on car manufacturing,
right? And then that went downhill, and so did everything else.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what the funny thing is about in the beginning, they go Tokyo, Japan, right, to the police station in Tokyo, but it's Detroit. They just put a Japanese sign up there. I know, I've been to Tokyo. Tokyo doesn't look like that. You can tell there was no filming on location in Tokyo for that one scene they had in Tokyo. It was Detroit, and they put a little Japanese police station sign up.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, come on, for this quality of a film, they're not going to send anyone to Japan for it. Jay Leno hates this film. He actually says this is he's not proud of being in this film.
He shouldn't be. Is this the only movie he did?
I think he did a couple other ones, but it proves why he went into doing talk shows over movies. I mean, he was always a comedian, a stand-up comedian, but like it shows why he, I think, did the talk show thing, because he's not really all that great in this, to tell you the truth.
He's not. He's not. It's good he went and did stand up and talk shows. He's not good.
No.
He's not a movie star at all.
No, it didn't work out for him. And you can tell from this film, but no, he has mentioned in the past that he does not like this film and he's not proud of it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, you and I know a lot about 80s, 90s movies and films, but I had never heard of this. I never knew that Jay Leno and Pat Morita did a buddy cop movie. If you'd have told me that, I would be like, that's funny. You're so silly. That's like something you and I would come up with in one of our strange podcasts.
Oh, when we randomly come up with, this is a buddy cop movie with our Micro Machine guy, and that would be a great buddy cop movie. Somebody was sitting
Tony
around.
Hawk versus Jesse Ventura for some reason, right?
That'd be great.
That sounds like something we'd come up with as one of our weird podcast things, but it was real. Like, this movie was made.
Yeah,
they made it.
That's the thing. Somebody else did this exact same thing, and we're like, it'd be a great buddy cop movie. Jay Leno and Pat Morita. Yeah,
like they were at the bar. Like, some executive filmmakers were like, I think Jay Leno and Pat Morita should make a buddy cop movie. What do you think?
That's a good idea.
Do it.
This Jay Leno guy, he's an up and coming comedian. Pat Morita, he's got the Karate Kid stuff. He's been around for a while. He knows comedy. He's done comedy and serious. We'll get Pat Morita in here.
Yeah.
Poor Pat Morita as well. Like, okay, what we want you to do is play our stereotypical Japanese guy and do the whole talk with the accent. Yeah. Okay, great.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, the movie's full of like racial slurs against your heritage, by the way, but you deal with that. We're going to pay you. Okay,
we're going to pay you.
Fucking get a job.
Yeah. That's probably his. He's like, fine, fucking pay me. I'll do it. Assholes.
No, I don't think you could get away with the amount of like racial slurs that they had in this film. I was kind of like surprised, like, whoa.
Yeah, that's the thing. You definitely could not make this film nowadays, which is a good thing for multiple reasons, not just the racial slurs, but because it's a crappy film.
So are you giving it, what are you giving it on your thumb?
I'm going thumbs down on this one. Clearly. It has good moments. The Pat Morita kicking through the windshield is kind of a good moment.
That was a great moment.
Occasionally there might be a decent one-liner in there, but beyond that, it's so stereotypical buddy cop movie, 80s racist Japanese, anti-Japanese kind of movie. And not in a funny way. Like,
Not in a funny way, in a petulant way.
Yeah, that's
like you can tell like they're almost kind of like butthurt throughout the film that the Japanese are making good cars. I'm butthurt about that.
Yeah.
Everybody's butthurt about that. And we're going to use all kinds of Japanese like racial slurs, and we're butthurt. It's not funny. It's just kind of annoying. Like, grow up. Don't be butthurt. Learn computers or something. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Learn to do something else. Your job went away. That sucks. Same with the coal mining people. Oh, my job went away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, go do something else.
Well, and it's like,
or make better cars.
Exactly. Like, you made crappy cars and you got beat because somebody else came along and did something better. Yeah, that happens. That's called you want to live
capitalism
in a
global
capitalistic economy. Baby. You can't then complain about capitalism. You know? That's how capitalism works.
Yeah. So it wasn't, I think it was trying to be funny in that way, but it wasn't. It just came off as kind of petulant and butthurt. And this is not a good movie. No. If I were Jay Leno, I would also be embarrassed
to have done this. He's like, look, it was the 80s. I was an up and coming comedian. I didn't have enough clout.
Somebody gave me a buddy cop. He thought he was going to be
hey, we're going to pay you to do a buddy cop film.
Beverly Hills Cop kind of guy. And
that
did not pan out. Nope.
No, there's a reason.
So don't watch this. It's on HBO Max though, if you want to, but you got to look for it.
You got to search.
You know how stereotypical it is. Like even, saxophone laden
car chase
music. It's like, I know this even more now because it's like the 21st century and it's just so bad.
It stands out.
It's hard to get through, man.
I wonder if Jay Leno has the Corvette in Jay Leno's garage. Like if he kept it from the film or if it was his car or something. Because it's a cool vet. And he's got thousands of cars in his garage.
Why did they even call it Collision Course?
Because it involves cars colliding, coursing.
Okay.
I don't know.
This movie got like a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not good, but I think it's way more than it deserves. That's why I don't trust that shit. Because 38% is way too much. It's not good, but it's even too much for this movie. The movie sucked, dude. But Danny Kamakona, man, they should have had him in it more.
This film had a lot of big names in it doing bit parts.
Ernie Hudson.
Where
did he go?
The Japanese police chief. I mean,
Ernie Hudson just disappeared, man.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he was in it, but then gone.
It's probably part of his deal. He's like, pay me to do a couple of days of work. Sure, whatever. I'll come in and do a couple of days worth of work. No, the film called Gung Ho, or not? Gung Ho. It was Michael Keaton, and he plays a guy who works for a car company, and they get bought out by a Japanese company. And so there's that whole like car industry, Japanese coming in and taking over. So there's jokes in there along those lines, but they work better. Especially because as they learn to work together, they learn to, evolve as people. Ron Howard directed it. It was, I think.
Gung Ho?
And Gung Ho, Gungho, 1986.
Oh, I have to check. I don't know if I ever saw it. I think I heard of it. I don't know if I remember it.
Yeah.
But but that was probably more of a comedy. It was
was a comedy. Yeah. I mean, that was back in Michael Keaton's full-on comedy era days.
Yeah.
But this buddy cop comedy, but either way, like that's a good story about the whole Detroit. Well, it's not, I don't know if it's a good story, but they do a better job of it.
Yeah.
It's not so, I mean, it has been a while since I've seen it, but I don't recall it being overly almost kind of racist,
Yeah. Maybe it was just kind of fun. Yeah. This one was kind of flat out racist. And I think they were trying to be funny, but it wasn't. Here's the thing. I don't know if I'm offended by it as much as I just think it doesn't work. It's not funny.
Yeah.
If your racial stuff is funny, okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Then it's
I'll buy
gonna
into
progress.
your racism if you make me laugh, but this wasn't even funny. And in fact, I think it was trying to be kind of funny and whatever, but it just wasn't. It reminds me of like your uncle who's pissed off and about everybody who's not like him, and when they took our jobs, and the Mexicans and Japanese and anybody who looks different from me so bad. That's what it was kind of felt like. And I don't think they were going for that, but it came off that way. And that's why it bugs me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's petulant. It's like your uncle you don't want to invite to Christmas because he's just fucking angry all the time. And that's what it came off as.